Hey everyone, welcome back. So this section is a continuation, or it accompanies the previous section. They're meant to go together. So if you didn't watch that one, I definitely recommend you start there. I say that about pretty much everything, but in particular, these two go hand in hand. So we're still talking about algorithms, difficult problems to solve. How do you even approach a difficult problem? How do you get better at solving them, whether it's in an interview or on a side project you're working on? So we talked about sort of two different steps, or two things. Devising a plan for solving problems. Before you write a line of code, how do you even approach a new problem? Something that's a real head scratcher. And then the second thing is mastering common problem solving patterns. So the last section was devoted to that first point. Just make that clear. Lovely green color. So we're done with that. We talked about an approach. Now we're going to talk about some common patterns that sometimes can come in handy. And I want to say that this section can be a bit of a letdown. This material, I've seen a lot of students sort of get disappointed because they built it up as some sort of cure-all little notebook of patterns that they need to memorize. And then every problem they ever face, every interview challenge they ever face, they'll know exactly what to do. And that's not the case at all. In reality, there are some common patterns that we'll discuss that do apply to multiple problems. There are common approaches to writing code, sort of archetypes for a problem. But that does not mean that you cover every possible scenario on Earth. So it might help you in 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10 challenges you have to face. But even if it's only 1 out of 10, that's still helpful and worth knowing. So there are lots of these patterns, and some of them have names that are official. Some of them have not official, but names that are recognized by other people, like divide and conquer, for example, or greedy algorithms. But some of them are things that aren't necessarily well-known names. The concept might be well-known, but if you tried to Google something like frequency counter, as far as I know, you'll probably find more results about like a detector for counting the frequency of a sound or a waveform or something. That's not what that is. So some of these aren't really official terminology, but all of these are different approaches, different patterns for writing code. And when I say pattern, I think that can get a little confusing. I like to think of them as sort of programming mechanisms, different pieces that you can put in, or sort of a blueprint. I think I've said that a couple times. So we're going to start off with frequency counter. We're not going to cover all of these in this one section, but we're going to cover a couple of them. And the way it will work is I'll introduce the idea, explain it, and then do an example where I show you sort of a poorly written solution to a problem, the naive approach, and then the approach using the pattern that I'm introducing. And then I'm going to try and give you as many opportunities to practice on your own with exercises and solutions and that sort of thing. So first up, we're going to talk about the frequency counter pattern. So that's coming up next.